الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا محمد النبي الأمي وآله وصحبه أما بعد. My dear children, my dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today inshallah we'll continue our talk about Prophet Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam from chapter 12. We stopped last week at verse 29 when the husband, Al-Aziz, the husband said to Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, please forget about what happened from my wife, please do not mention it to anybody. And he turned to his wife and he said to her, ask for forgiveness and forget about the whole matter. But of course, the news spread in the city and she became the talk of the town, and other women of the high society started to talk about her passion or love or her interest in her slave. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم وقال نسوة في المدينة امرأة العزيز تراود فتاها عن نفسه قد شغفها حبا إنا لنراها في ضلال مبين. They made three statements here. The first statement was the wife of the Aziz is trying to seduce her slave. Number two, قد شغفها حبا. شغف means filled her heart with love, passion and lust. Statement number three, إِنَّا لَنَرَاهَا فِي ضَلَالٍ مُبِينٍ. Surely we can see she is in manifest error, in great error. She is doing something wrong. How dare the wife of the Aziz would ask her slave to have an intimate relationship with her. فَلَمَّا سَمِعَتْ بِمَكْرِهِنْ. When she heard about their snares or malicious talk or intrigues, this is very interesting. At that time there were no YouTubes or Facebook or internet, but still the gossip spread in Egypt and the feedback came to her. It shows you the nature of the human beings. Whether there is internet or no internet, still in the past news spread, feedback came back to her, and now she felt that she'd been humiliated by Yusuf and humiliated by these women as well, because they're accusing her of trying to have an affair with her slave. How can a woman of a high society seek to make love to her slave? They regarded it as something very low. When she heard the news, she had to respond. Again, when people are in error, the ego does not stop you from trying to defend your mistakes or your errors. This is the human nature. What she planned to invite them to a banquet. So she said, fine, if that's what they accuse me of, I'll put them to a test, a great test. She invited them all to a banquet. And they sat in a very comfortable way. You can imagine the cushions on the floor and everyone being very well looked after. They had a lovely meal, and then the time for the dessert came and fresh fruits arrived, and she gave each one of them a knife to cut the fresh fruit. Then she pushed Joseph into the hole. What happened when they saw him? They were so amazed about his beauty, his nobility. And in their amazement, they cut their hands, their fingers, instead of cutting the fruits. Can you imagine? Their mouths dropped. This is not a human being. It cannot be a human being. This must be an angel, and not just a normal angel, a noble angel, Malak Kareem. So let's now read together the words of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and try to learn from them. فلما سمعت بمكرهن, when she heard of their malicious talk or their intrigues, أرسلت إليهن وأعتدت لهن متكئا. She invited them for a banquet and she gave each one of them a knife. وآتت كل واحدة منهن سكينة وقالت اخرج عليهن. She gave each of them a knife and she said to Yusuf, come out before them. فلما رأيناه, when they saw him, أكبرناه. Oh my goodness. What? They extol him. Oh my goodness. أكبرناه means when you glorify someone. What is this? أكبرناه وقطعنا أيديهن, and they cut in their amazement, cut their hands. وقلنا حاشا لله. May God forbid. Allah preserve us. ما هذا بشرا إن هذا إلا ملك كريم. This cannot be a human being. No way. This must be an angel who is so noble as well. I mean, how did they know? 7,000 years ago the story took place, about 7,000 years ago in Egypt. How did they know about angels? And how did they even relate beauty and purity to an angel? It's very interesting. It shows you that from the beginning of the creation, people were aware of the one true God. They were aware of the angels. But they mixed up their religion with their idols and superstition and so on. That's why the idol worshippers at the time of the Prophet ﷺ, they knew Allah. Did they or they didn't? Muhammad ﷺ was called Muhammad ibn Abdullah. So they knew Allah, but what they were worshipping? Idols. And when they were questioned, why do you worship this idol? They said, إِنَّمَا نَعْبُدُهُمْ لِيُقَرِّبُونَ إِلَى اللَّهِ زُلْفًا. We only worship them to bring us closer to Allah, to intercede on our behalf. That's all. So they knew Allah. And they will accept Bismillah. If you write Bismillah, okay, that's fine. We know Allah. I have no problem with that. So now the wife of the Aziz felt she won a battle or a round against these women. Because you blamed me for him. Now you are doing the same. What's the difference between me and you? Can you see my excuse now? So when her reputation began to be pulled to pieces, the wife of Aziz invited all ladies in society to a grand banquet. We can imagine them reclining at ease after the manner of fashionable banquets. When dessert was reached and the talk flowed freely about the gossip and the scandal which made their hostess interesting, they were just about to cut the fruit with their knives, when behold, Joseph was brought into the midst. Imagine the consternation which his beauty caused and the havoc it played with their hearts. So now the wife of the Aziz, thought the wife of the Aziz, now is your hypocrisy self-exposed. What about you? What about your reproaches to me? You have yourself so lost your self-control that you have cut your fingers. So don't blame me. You have done the same like me. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam now is going to face a challenge not just from one person, the wife of the Aziz, but he's going to face the challenge of the other women, the temptation of the other women. She said to them, قالت فذلكن الذي لمتنني فيه. This is the one you blamed me for. وَلَقَدْ رَاوَدتُّهُ عَنْ نَفْسِهِ فَاسْتَعْصَمَ. Yes, I have tried to seduce him, but he was so firm in faith and he refused. وَلَئِنْ لَمْ يَفْعَلْ مَا آمُرُهُ. If he doesn't comply with my command, with my order, لَيُسْجَنَنَّ وَلَيَكُنَّ مِنَ الصَّاغِرِينَ. Oh my goodness, he is going to go into prison or he will become one of the meanest. Or in fact, both. He is going to go into the prison and he will become one of the meanest. Now we have two choices here. Either he is going to submit to their commands, i.e. he is going to accept what they are asking him to do, and now it's not only the wife of the Aziz, all the other women, or he's going to go to prison. I mean, if any young man sitting in this room today would say to himself, my goodness, what a great man, what a powerful, what a strong man. Wasn't he a human being? Didn't he have any desires like any man or any woman? Yes, he did. He did. But he did not want to do something wrong to upset Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He had to resist the temptation of these most beautiful and powerful women in order to please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We don't worship Allah because we just offering prayers and because we are afraid of His anger. We are afraid of the hell and the fire. We do it because we love Allah so much. We want to please Him. Radiallahu anhum wa radu an. Allah is, hopefully Allah will be pleased with us and we will be pleased with the reward we are going to get, inshallah. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam, قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه. Can you imagine now that choice has come? Oh my Lord, going to prison is going to be much better than doing what they are asking me to do. Now listen to the Arabic of the Quran, please. مما يدعونني إليه. He did not say مما تدعوني إليه. He did not say prison is better than what she is asking me to do or inviting me to do or commanding me to do. He said مما يدعونني إليه. What they are all asking me to do. And this is the beauty of the Arabic language. مما يدعونني إليه. I would rather prefer to go to the prison and not doing what all of them are asking me to do. So not only one woman now, all the other women are after Yusuf alayhi salam. Now, we as men, and I mentioned this last Friday, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in an authentic hadith, 7 will be under the shade of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment when there will be no other shade but His shade. One of them, a young man who been invited by a very powerful, beautiful, rich woman to make love to her, and he said, no, inni akhafullah, I fear, I'm sorry, I can't. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam was in a similar situation. But because we are all weak as humans, we are all weak, we have to turn to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for help, to give us more strength to face the problems we are having on daily basis. So Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam said, قال رب السجن أحب إلي مما يدعونني إليه وإلا تصرف عني كيدهن أصب إليهن وأكن من الجاهلين. Oh Allah, if you do not take away their evil planning and plotting from me, their snares, unfortunately, I may incline towards them and do something which is wrong, and then I will join the ranks of the ignorant. He admitted his weaknesses. He did not say, I'm a prophet, I'm a messenger. Satan cannot, no. He sought the help, and this is something we should all learn. A verse in the Quran to protect us from such evil. If you feel in your life that you are attracted to a woman who is not your wife, or you are thinking of doing evil, or there is a woman who is doing advances on you at work, we know now sexual harassment is happening everywhere. At the workplace, at school, wherever you are. So turn to Allah to help you to get this away from you. And remember the verse, 33, chapter 12. وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Joseph's speech is characteristic. Like a true prophet of Allah, he takes refuge in Allah. He knows the weaknesses of human nature. He would not pit his own strengths against the whole assault of evil. He will rely on Allah to turn evil away from him and praise Allah alone for any success he achieves in his fight. It is only the ignorant who do not know man's weakness and Allah's strength. In the following verse, verse 34, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala responded to his invocation. This is the beauty of the relationship between sincere servants of Allah and their Maker. وَقَالَ رَبُّكُمْ ادْعُونِي أَسْتَجِبْ لَكُمْ. Your Lord said, invoke me, call upon me, supplicate, I will respond. So immediately, فَاسْتَجَابَ لَهُ رَبُّهُ فَصَرَفَ عَنْهُ كَيْدَهُنْ. So his Lord responded or accepted his invocation and turned away from him their snare. Alhamdulillah. Khalas. And it's a beautiful feeling in your sujood if you feel that the woman who is harassing you and you are trying to resist her temptation, her beauty, she is your boss at work and you don't know what to do. And then in your sujood you are saying to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَإِلَّا تَصْرِفْ عَنِّي كَيْدَهُنَّ أَصْبُ إِلَيْهِنَّ وَأَكُمْ مِنَ الْجَاهِلِينَ. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will take this away. Alhamdulillah. إِنَّهُ هُوَ السَّمِيعُ الْعَلِيمُ. Because he is the one who hears and knows. In verse 35, again, the miracle of the Quran is in the Arabic language. It's not in the translation. Translation kills the miracle. The Arabic language, the original language of the Quran is the miracle. ثم بدأ لهم من بعد ما رأوا الآيات ليسجننه حتى حين. Then it occurred to them after they had seen the signs that it was best to imprison him for a time. The word used here is lahum, not lahunna. Lahum here means men and women together. So it's not only the women who decided to imprison him, but their husbands as well. Because this man, although they knew he was innocent, although they knew about his purity and chastity, they wanted to get rid of him for a while. So put him in the prison, forget about him, our wives will calm down, the situation will be better, and there will be no more news or gossip in the city. Let me read the footnote, very interesting. When Joseph's character was completely vindicated, there was no disgrace to him in being sent to prison after that. On the contrary, the blame now would attach to those who, for their own selfish motives, restricted his liberty for a time. As a matter of fact, various motives on the part of the many actors in this drama converged towards that end. For Joseph, prison was better than the importunities of the women. And now, not one woman, but all society women were after him. That's number one. To the women themselves, it looked as if that was a lever which they could use to force his compliance. Vain, deluded creatures, to think that a man of God could be forced from the path of rectitude by threats or bribes. Every one of you, every one of us is a man of God if he obeys the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You don't have to be a prophet or a messenger to be called a man of God. To the Aziz, the husband, it appears as if it might be in his wife's best interest that he should disappear from her view in prison. The decisive factor was the view of the men generally, who were alarmed at the consternation he had caused among the women. They knew that Joseph was righteous. They had seen the signs of Allah in his wonderful personality and his calm and confident fortitude. But it was argued, it was better that one man, even if righteous, should suffer in prison rather than that many should suffer from the extraordinary disturbance he was unwittingly causing in their social life. Nor for the first, nor for the last time did the righteous suffer plausibly for the guilt of the guilty. And so Joseph went to prison for a time. Poor Joseph. Now Joseph is in the prison. An innocent man, a prophet of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in the same way, Quraysh forced a trade embargo and sanctions against the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his family in Mecca and the Muslims who followed him at that time. A siege on the Prophet ﷺ and his family. And they thought, Quraysh thought, by doing this, we will finish off the message of Muhammad. Muhammad will not be able to continue his message. Or when they planned and plotted to kill him, to get rid of him. And how did Allah save him? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has His own plan. And it must go through. We have no choice. Whatever Allah has decreed must happen, must take place, whether you like it or you don't like it. We plan and plot, Allah also plans and plots. But Allah plans. We plan to conceal the truth, and Allah plans to reveal the truth. This is the difference between us and Him. Yusuf alayhi salam is in the prison now. And I worked at Pentonville prison for a while, for a long time. I was a chaplain there, voluntary chaplain. It was so painful to be, because I was in fact a prisoner myself. When you are there, you are behind the walls and the barbed wires and everything. You know that at the end of the day you will go. But I go there 7 o'clock in the morning, I leave 7 o'clock in the evening. Very difficult. And you are so depressed while you are there, from what you see and from what you hear. And I can see the criminals, real criminals, sitting there, ganging with each other, talking to each other. And very rarely you will see someone who is so decent, so honest, so nice, trying to help it. There is no such thing. The language they use and the swearing. So while Yusuf was in the prison, the other prisoners judged him by the way he conducted himself, that this must be a very wonderful, kind, nice man. And they used an attribute of al-muhsinin. You are a man who is doing good all the time. We can see you praying, we can see you purifying yourself, we can see you don't shout, you are not rude, and so on. So in verse 36, the camera now moves inside the prison. So beautiful, so beautiful. The camera moves inside the prison. وَدَخَلَ مَعْهُ السِّجْنَ فَتَيَانِ. 2 young people came into the prison with him. قال أحدهما إني أراني أعصر خمرا. One of them said to him, I saw a dream. I saw that I was pressing grapes to make wine. And I was serving wine. That was the wine waiter of the king in the palace. So the first one saw a dream that he was pressing. You know when they make wine, they press the grapes with their feet. Some still happening in Greece and France. They stand on the grapes and they press them with their feet. And then he was serving wine to the king of Egypt. And the second one said, I also saw a dream. I saw I was carrying on my head bread, and the birds were eating from the bread. He was the baker of the king. Please. وقال الآخر إني أراني أحمل فوق رأسي خبزا تأكل الطير منه نبئنا بتأويله. Please interpret these dreams to us. Subhanallah, how did they know? How did they know that Yusuf alayhi can tell them that? إنا نراك من المحسنين, because we can see you are a good man. Brothers and sisters, Islam is spread in the world because of the qualities of the early Muslims. When Islam went to India and Asia Minor, it was because of the qualities, the behavior, the conduct of the early Muslims, not because of what they were wearing or how big their beard was. Nothing to do with it. It is the conduct, the behavior. إن الله لا ينظر إلى صوركم ولا إلى أموالكم. Allah doesn't look at your images or at your bank account. إنما ينظر إلى قلوبكم وأعمالكم. He looks at your hearts and your conduct, your deeds. That's what we are lacking today. The problems you are having in Syria and Egypt, The Muslim world is being fully destroyed today because of the ignorant Muslim, misinformed Muslims who are igniting these fires in the heart of the Muslim Ummah. Inna naraka min al-muhsinin. Yusuf, my goodness, we can see you are a good man. You are a kind man. You are a wonderful man. Please help us. Let me read the footnote. Both these men saw the signs of Allah about Joseph. They felt not only that he had wisdom, but that he was kind and benevolent, and would give of his wisdom even to strangers like themselves. They therefore told him their dreams and asked him to interpret them. The dream of one foreboded good to him, and of the other evil to him. It was good that each should prepare for his fate. But Joseph's mission was far higher than that of merely foretelling events. He must teach the truth of Allah and the faith in the hereafter to both men. He does that first before he talks of the events of their phenomenal life. And yet he does it so tenderly. He does not tantalize them. In effect, he says, you shall learn everything before your next meal, but let me first teach you faith. SubhanAllah, this is beautiful. It's really beautiful. Yusuf alayhi salatu wasalam did not miss, as a prophet of God, any opportunity to propagate the message of Allah. No way. Before he told them the interpretation, he is going to preach. He is going to invite them to the one true God, because at that time Egypt were not worshipping the one true God. They had so many idols. So now he is playing a major role. And he didn't worry about that. He's already in the prison. And nothing should stop you from propagating the message of Allah. As long as you apply the verse which says, "Ud'u ila sabili rabbika bil-hikmati wal-maw'izati al-hasana." Invite all to the way of your Lord with wisdom and good preaching. قُلْ هَذِهِ سَبِيلي أَدْعُو إِلَى اللَّهِ عَلَى بَصِيرَةٍ أَنَا وَمَنِ اتَّبَعَنِ. Say, this is the way, this is my way. I invite everyone to the way of Allah with knowledge. Not only me, but those who follow me as well. We need to have the knowledge to be able to invite people to the way of Allah. And next week, inshallah, we'll continue the interpretation of the dreams, and we will carry on with the story of Yusuf alayhi salatu wassalam. We have few announcements to make, please, very quickly.